Hey Cody, welcome to Los Angeles. Just kind of go through the thought process of choosing LA as your next team to play for.
Yeah, we really enjoyed our time in Dallas. We were hoping things would work out, and then just kind of dragged on. I mean, they have a lot on their plate right now, and they're up against the cap. And then we had this awesome opportunity, and we took it right away. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for us. Just a great spot to play, to live, and then yeah, just a good team as well. So I think all those check the boxes for us, and yeah, we ended up doing it.
Obviously, you have some familiarity with Ken Holland going back to your time in Edmonton. Did that kind of help the decision making a little bit there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, always helps to have a familiar face around. Kenny brought me into to Edmonton. We had some deep runs together. So yeah, that was definitely a factor that played into it.
Great, thanks.
Andrew, no, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Cody. Welcome to. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, welcome to LA. I wanted to ask you, obviously you've spent the last significant portion of your career in the Western Conference, visiting here a lot with Edmonton, San Jose, Dallas. What kind of appealed to you, first of all, as far as the city, but also as far as maybe the organization, style of play, anything that you saw as an opponent?
Yeah, I mean their defensive play always stands out. I play a pretty defensive game myself, so hoping for that to be just a good fit. I mean they've always been tough to play against over the years. We've matched up against them a lot, so I'm pretty familiar with the style of game they play, and then obviously spending a lot of time in those playoff series in LA, you get to just kind of see how great the city is and how great the arena is and everything that goes around their hockey team there. So yeah, it was just a combination of things.
And as Kenny approached you, was there any discussion about your role? Obviously, there's some flux there with two of the Kings' core 6D moving out. Have they talked to you about maybe third pairing role or some sort of hybrid where you have, more responsibility on special teams? Just an idea of, maybe how you fit into this group.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about it. I'm not sure how set anything is. They just expect me to come in and help out with the hard minutes, playing against some other teams, top guys, and then helping out on the PK. I think it'll be kind of a similar role that I've played in the last probably 4 years in my 4 or 5 years of my career.
Thank you.
Zach Dooley, go ahead.
Hey Cody, welcome to LA, and congrats on the new deal. You obviously played quite a bit against this team in the postseason over the last few years. What's maybe your impression of playing against the Kings in the playoffs, and what do you feel that maybe you and some of the other guys added this summer can help to maybe bring this group over the top?
Yeah, they've like I said, they're just always a tough team to play against. They're so play so well defensively, and yeah, I think with the additions, I think they're just trying to keep that keep everything in line, keep being hard to play against. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully we can take it over the edge this year. I mean, this year I was watching a lot of that series against Edmonton, and thought even for, I mean, the first half they looked unbelievable. So yeah, just hopefully more of the same, and then just get over that hump.
And you were teammates with Corey Perry in 23-24 in Edmonton. He signs here as well. Just anything you can share on just kind of that winning mentality that he brought to that group with the Oilers?
Yeah, he's been around the game a while. He plays hard. He knows what it takes to win. And whenever you add a guy like that in your locker room, it's huge. I mean, he contributes on the ice, but a lot of people don't see what he brings to a locker room, and that's going to be huge for us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Eric Stevens, go ahead.
Hey, Cody. Zach just took a little bit of my thunder there with this question about Corey Perry. But to build on top of that, can you best describe what Corey is like as a teammate and then also what it's like to deal with him in front of that net as an opponent.
Yeah, he's a tough matchup in front of the net. I mean, he's a big guy. He's hard to move. He'll be in your face, in the goalie's face. So, yeah, definitely a player you want on your team. And then in the room and away from the rink, we got along. We got along pretty well. And he's just a great guy in the room. He's quiet, but he says the right thing at the right time. And just when you have a guy that's been around as long as he has, he's got a lot of good things to say.
It's been well documented for obvious reasons. The Kings, have losing to the Oilers here the last few years. How much irony do you find it that now you, Corey, Warren Fogle, that Kenny's brought the three of you guys along here to maybe help try to get past them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of the part of the business, the way things lined up, and it's hard to keep everyone around in this league as long as you want them, and you try and make little tweaks here and there. So, yeah, it'll be a good opportunity for us to do it. But they're still a strong team too, so it'll be just another good matchup if we end up playing them.
And my final question. I know last year, obviously, especially after you got to Dallas, your focus was a long playoff run with the Stars. But somebody of your profile, a right hand shot, got some size on D whatsoever. How much did you see last year, and maybe doing well, setting yourself up for a contract like this? Especially with this in the rising cap environment.
Yeah, I think the timing of it worked out well for me. I mean, I've been up, but some times that weren't maybe as good. So, yeah, I think it helped out a bit, and then getting the opportunity to play in Dallas, go on that run, and show how I can play in the playoffs. I think that definitely helped me out. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a combination of things, and playing hard, playing a lot of games the last 4 years. I think that just kind of set me up as a whole.
So we'll start with Dennis Bernstein. Go ahead.
Corey, welcome to LA. Not a lot of people would have had you on the Kings yesterday. What convinced you, and I assume you still want to chase a cup, that Los Angeles gives you the best shot to win next season?
Well, I think if you look at their roster and the way they're constructed, the way they played in the regular season, they're tight defensively. They have a lot of skill, a lot of firepower, good goalie, good back end. I mean, it looks good, and hopefully they can come in and help that.
Eric Stevens, go ahead.
Hey, Corey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Dennis took one of my questions, so I'll ask this. To be honest, how do you go about winning over Kings fans?
I knew that question was gonna pop up. You know what? I'm just gonna let my play, speak and go from there. I mean, obviously, I've had some or many battles against LA, and their fans were passionate and hard, and it's exciting when you see that. But now I got to get them on my side, and hopefully we can do that early.
Could you have ever imagined it at any point in your career?
I mean, I'll say no, because I didn't know where this my career was going to go, and how it was going to play out. So, but at the same time, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the challenge, and and looking forward to getting going with the guys, because it's I know a few of them already. I've played with some of them. A good friend in Drew Doughty, and he's he called me earlier, and he's excited. So that just gets the blood boiling again, because there's some unfinished business.
On a more serious tip, there were reports that you had hoped and maybe were trying to work out a stay in Edmonton. Obviously, It went very well for you. the last couple of years. So where did things maybe went awry there? And then what was kind of your reaction when you learned and found that Kenny was calling you up?
Well, it's going to be, Edmonton's always going to have a soft spot in my heart because, going there and them bringing me in and going to two cup finals and going through it all with those guys, not getting the job done. It's memorable because those fans are so passionate, and especially in playoff time, it's a tremendous building and one of the greatest to play in. But when we kind of had a feeling it wasn't going to go the way we kind of planned, and those things happen, and you move on to something else, and you get ready for something else. So when Kenny called, and having that relationship, it definitely helps.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
Zach Dooley, go ahead.
Hey, Corey, congrats on the new deal and welcome
Thank
to
you.
LA.
Thank you.
Wanted to know, over these last couple of playoff series that you've been on the other side of the Kings, maybe what stood out to you about what was maybe missing on the LA side come playoff time that maybe you and some of these other summer additions might be able to help bolster?
That's a loaded question.
It is. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you know what? We're just trying to come in and help and get over and get over that hump, you could say, or whatever you want to call it. What are they missing? I don't. They have a lot of great players. They have a good goalie. They have great defense, and some star forwards. And there's hopefully the pieces that Kenny did today we can all come in and just add to that and move forward as a team and see where this thing can go.
And then another guy signed today was Cody Ceci. You guys were teammates in Edmonton in 23-24. What kind of player are the Kings getting in Cody from your experience as a teammate?
He's a solid teammate, great person, great individual, and on the ice he plays hard. He's I would call him a stay-at-home defenseman, puck moving, but but he's a big body, and I know firsthand when you're around the net, it's not easy to get there when he's on the ice.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Corey.
No problem.
Andrew Knoll, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Corey, welcome back to Southern California. Looking forward to seeing you in the room every day. I wanted to ask Zach's first question, maybe from a different perspective. Not so much what LA is missing, but what you think you can bring to them, especially when Game 82 is over and Game 83 rolls around.
Well, that's why we play the game, is to first you gotta get in the playoffs, and then then you have that chance. Everybody will have a chance, once Game 83 happens. So, and I think you playing 20 years, I think everybody knows my game by now. It's pretty simple. It's hard. Go to the dirty areas, be in front of the net, control the puck from the face-off circles down, and that's my type of game. It's been who I am, from when I came into this league and to who I am now, and that can't change, because then I wouldn't be the same player and be as effective.
And of course, you arrived today with Joel Armia, a guy you played with in Montreal, if I'm not mistaken, and another guy who goes for it. I mean, he's a physical, imposing guy, good on the PK. We know that. But what do you think that you and him can kind of bring attitudinally to this team, especially in big games, but even the day-to-day grind of the season?
Yeah, no, I played with him in Montreal, and we got put together on the line, and in that just at the end of the season, they're in the first round against Toronto with Eric Stahl, and I thought we had good chemistry, and we kind of took off, and we kind of think the game alike and play it alike. So but he is definitely one of the guys that's going to be on the PK. He's got a good stick. He has skill, and he's smart, and now that's what makes him a good player. So I'm excited to get back with him, and all the other guys that I've played with or know. It's exciting.
And last, I just wanted to ask you a quick one about the structure of your deal. I saw it's $2 million base salary, and then you have about $2 million in bonuses. But can you give us any insight as to how you guys reached that and maybe what the bonuses are a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's game played and playoff stuff in there. So it'll all come out, but you know, it it's a bonus. Keep the cap down, I guess you could say. Older guy, I don't know. It's all those intangibles that come with it, and it's been the same thing I've done the last couple of years is bonus style contracts. So
Awesome. Thank you very much. Congrats.
thank you.
Greg Beecham, go ahead.
Hey, Corey, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You're 40. You're about to start your third decade in the NHL. Most of your peers, like Getzi, are on the golf course, living their best lives. What keeps you going? What keeps you suiting up and putting on the skates every year?
Well, I just love the game. I love playing. I love being around the team. I love being around the rink. It's just who I am. And somebody asked me a couple of years ago how long if I'm going to continue to play, and I said, yeah, another 5, 6, 7 years. And they kind of laughed, but here we are a couple of years later, and we're still going. So, it's the day-to-day things that I enjoy. And one day they're gonna have to cut my skates off to get me out of there. That's how I always explained it.
Is there any special meaning to kind of making it come full circle? You were here for 14 years in Anaheim. You went to a bunch of different cities. Now you're back in Southern California. I assume you've maintained your ties in Southern California to a certain level. So, is there anything special about coming back around to LA?
Well, yeah, Anaheim was home for 14 years, and we made friends, and my wife still is in contact with people back there, and so it's kind of coming home, you could say, and back to California, and we're excited as a family, and we're excited to get this thing going.
Thanks, man. See you soon.
Thanks.
Eric Stevens, go ahead.
Hey, Corey, just on the back of that, the other obvious question, spent some time and some years, and some teams, but how do you think Ducks fans are going to react?
Oh man. It is what it is. It's, I've been gone. This will be my 7th year gone. Honestly, I don't really know anybody there anymore. On the team, it's totally changed since I've been there. But I hope the Ducks fans can realize that I just love the game, and I just want to play, and I want to win, and this is another chapter.
Oh, you know what? Just in general, actually, though, how do you think, where the Kings are at? The Ducks are trying to they've been rebuilding. They're now trying to get in position to win again. How do you think this kind of fits into just spicing up the rivalry again? I mean, you know what it was like, especially in that playoff series and whatsoever, when both of them are good and competing for stuff.
Yeah, I know it's definitely Anaheim is on the rise, and they're doing some good things and bringing in some good players and drafting some good players. So we played them at the end of the season. They're tough to play against, and I don't see why that's not just going to continue to grow. And I think it'll just add to that rivalry. And this time I'm just on the other side of it. That's all.
Thanks, Corey.
All right.
Good to see you again.
Same.
Any other questions, media? Andrew Knoll, go ahead.
Yeah, just from a strictly emotional standpoint, the first time you put on that Kings sweater, I mean, having been such a big part of the Oilers and the Ducks, do you think obviously you're a pro, you've made many changes in your career, but just that first time you put on the black and silver, do you think that's going to feel a little strange for you?
Yeah. Obviously it's going to be, a change. It's going to be a little bit different. But you can go back and you can look at the other teams I played for in Dallas, Chicago, now Edmonton. And, we had rivalries with all those teams when I was in Anaheim, and, LA is no exception. So, yeah, it's going to be different. It's, it'll take getting used to when I get my stuff here in the summer and get it on. But once training camp comes around, I'll be fine and ready to go.
Thank you.
Eric, go ahead.
Sorry, you know what, brought up one more. What number? 10, 90, or 94?
I can't give that away, can I? You can probably take a good guess.
Which one do you like better? How about that? Is that a good way to go around it?
I'm not gonna give that one away yet. I gotta still talk to Kenny about that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
First, we'll start with Andrew Noel. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, hey, Dumo, welcome back to Southern California.
Yeah, excited. Definitely excited to stay.
It's awesome. Yeah, and I understand that, initially when you were leaving Seattle last summer, you had kind of wanted to go to the East Coast, but then your experience in Anaheim warmed you up more to this area. Was that a factor in your signing, being comfortable with the region and the market and maybe wanting to come back here for the next 3-4 seasons?
Yeah, I think definitely. We had such a great experience in Anaheim. Obviously, quality of life and living in Southern California played a big part of it. My family loved it, and I mean, although it's far from home where we live in the summer, it was such a good experience out there that it made it easy going back there. And I think the transition for this upcoming season will be a lot easier now that we've experienced that last year.
Are you guys up in Maine or you're in Boston during the summers?
We're in Boston. We're in like a town just south of Boston, so that's where we spend our summers.
Okay, cool. And then as far as on ice stuff, as you were communicating with Ken Holland, obviously big changes in the deep four with you and Cody Ceci coming in, Vlad and Spenny going out. What was communicated to you about your role, whether it was in terms of minutes, special teams, or within the dynamic of the group? I guess what was kind of discussed there between you and Ken Holland as you narrowed in on a pact here?
Yeah, I spoke with them before, and I spoke with Ken. I spoke with head coach Jim Hiller. So they seem to know my game and what I bring to the table. So I think that's really important. They knew who I am as a player and how it complements the team, especially when you look at LA and how structured they are, especially in breakouts and how they want their D to play. Especially just move the puck. They don't necessarily need you jumping to the play and leading the rush. Very defensive style. They don't really give up too many odd man rushes. So very defensive, cautious. So that definitely leads into my game. Had a lot of good talks with them. You can see their desire to win and how close this group is to winning. Obviously, that excites me. I love playing in big games and I love playing in the playoffs, especially not being in the playoffs with my last year in Pittsburgh and then my year in Seattle, getting a taste of that, getting it with New Jersey last year, just really cemented in me like how much I love that time of the year and playing in those big moments when everyone's watching and being able to step up and play different roles throughout the whole year, whether it be on the left side, the right side, play with older guys, younger guys. I've kind of done almost everything in my career at this point. So nothing phases me. And I think it all boils down to just wanting to win and have a chance at winning another cup.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm really happy to have you back in the market and can't wait to see you. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Zach Dooley, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, congrats on the new deal and welcome to LA. You talk about that playoff experience that you've had in your career. You had guys like yourself, Corey Perry, Cody Ceci, who all have kind of been through it a little bit in the playoffs. How important is it to a team maybe trying to get over the hump to add some different guys in who have climbed the mountain before?
Yeah, I mean, I think the experience is really, really important, and I've seen it. Just the more that you play in those high stakes, high competitive, the playoff game is a lot different than regular season. I mean, you're playing at one team in a best of seven. You're not traveling. You're not playing different teams night in and night out, and you're also like the competitiveness, physicalness, just how important every play is, the consistency that you have to win. In every round, it's just something that you have to do repetitively in order to gain that experience. So you can see when they added Cody and they added Corey that obviously they bring that to the table too. But I mean, just this group in LA, they're a team that's been in the playoffs almost every year, so they have a lot of guys with that experience as well. And obviously they have they're an organization that has won Stanley Cup, so they have that in the room and they have that ability and that capability. So it's really, really exciting to be a part of that culture that they've already established here. So it just excites me, and really, really excited to join the group and see the guys. I know they've been saying it. I've heard nothing but great things about how good the group is. So I'm looking forward to adding to it.
You spoke a little bit about, the Kings style and structure earlier, but as an opposing player, for so many years, what was always maybe your impression over the last few specifically of what the Kings were like, as an opponent and as a team to play against?
Yeah, I mean, I knew especially their structure and how structured they were as an opposing team going in anytime we played the Kings. Being in LA, obviously we saw them a lot, a couple times in preseason and 4 times during the regular season. You kind of even could see in the breakouts how structured they were, but you still really couldn't stop it. You still couldn't get odd man rushes on them. You had to work for every inch of ice out there to try to score, and that wears on you, and that's hard. And I mean, I kind of love that. I love defending. That's kind of who I am first and foremost. I love breakouts. That's what I bring a lot to the table. Just being able to move the puck clean on the tape and not really have to chip out pucks or punt pucks. Just try to hit the middle. When the center's open, I know their centers do a great job of getting open for the D men and just supporting the D men. So I really love the style of play that they have.
And just one more for you. Any personal relationships you have with guys on the team or anybody that you've maybe talked to over these last couple hours who play in LA, who you might know from past teams or summer training, whatever it might be?
Yeah, I mean, not too much familiarity. I played with Cody for a little bit in Pittsburgh, uh, obviously, who they just signed also. I played against a lot of these guys for a long time. So, obviously, playing in Anaheim, I played a lot against them a lot more. A bunch of guys have already reached out to me, which is really nice. You can see it's such a welcoming group. Um, but obviously, I'm looking forward to getting to know them even more. I love the team aspect, and I love getting to know guys. And um, I know I've heard such a great group. I played with Jeff Carter, who obviously was a longtime King when I was in Pittsburgh, and he obviously just raved about the people in the organization, management, ownership, and the team. Obviously, he played with a few guys that are still there, so that's where it starts. Obviously, with those leaders and Doughty and Kopi. So yeah, I've heard nothing but great things.
Appreciate it, and congrats again.
Thank you very much.
Josh Schaefer, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, congrats and welcome to LA. You had mentioned earlier, a team that's kind of looking in this win now window. As you get later into, your veteran career and join this group, looking at different opportunities for you, how important is it to find a group that is ready to win now?
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I mean, it's one thing that I've kind of seen the differences, obviously, when I was with Anaheim last year. I mean, everyone wants to win, but you see that teams are in different stages. And we had a lot of young guys that were playing a lot, and it was almost a developmental phase a little bit. And you can see the teams that want to win and are desperate to win and try to do everything they can to win. And that's what I'm really, really excited about with this Kings group. I mean, I feel like they're right there. And I mean, you can tell just in the group and the belief of how good they are and how structured they are, how well they play to it and they play as a team. And um, yeah, it just excites me that a chance to win because it's so fun when you do. I mean, obviously you see the celebrations and how exciting it is to win, the bond that it creates with you and your teammates, um, and just playing so many games, you realize that it's a lot more fun to win than lose.
Thanks, Brian. Welcome.
Thank you.
You can ask it following your first. We'll start with Dennis Bernstein. Go ahead, Dennis.
Ken, you added 4 players, but my question is about the one you weren't able to retain. On the face of it, the Gavrikov deal looks like something you could have and maybe should have been able to do. Can you tell us why he did not return as a King?
Well, first off, I would say to you on free agency day, players and the team are free to make decisions. So we were involved in negotiations over the last well, since I got here, and I think before I got here, Rob Blake. Ultimately, we couldn't find obviously a anything that that worked for both sides.
And that deal, Marner doesn't hit free agency. Bezer goes back to Vancouver. There's been reports that other players turn down deals to come to LA. Are you concerned now that maybe LA isn't the destination that maybe you thought of when you first took the job?
No, I think you're totally wrong. Like, I would say to you that players have choices, and for a variety of reasons, some players want to. 700 players don't all want to go to one spot. It's lots of players want to come to LA. We talked to lots of people. We made some decisions with some people that wanted to be here, and we obviously only had so much cap space. So I think that the statement you made is totally inaccurate.
Eric Stevens, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Ken. Obviously bringing in Ceci and Dumoulin, there for your blue line. So, how do you think their additions to it, and you alluded to it, looking differently, obviously. With their additions, how do you think that changes the dynamic of your blue line, and does it make it better?
Well, I think it makes it different. We believe it's going to be better. Obviously, Gavrikov was really important here, especially at the penalty kill. That's what Cody Ceci has done. Did in Edmonton, did in Dallas, did in San Jose. Brian Dumoulin's the same. He can kill penalties. Brian Dumoulin can play left defense, can play right defense. With the growth of Brandt Clarke, another year older, a healthy Drew Doughty. We obviously saw what Mike Anderson and Edmondson could do last year. We feel like we've got six deep. Morvaver is a guy that played young, is a defenseman that played real well when he was called up. Burrows was here, so we feel we've got depth. If we do have we have some injuries, we'll have some competition in training camp. Obviously Dumoulin and Ceci are both big guys. They can defend and make some passes, and so I think that we feel we've got good depth on the back end. And again, obviously, Drew Doughty coming back is a big piece of it. The growth of Brandt Clarke is a big piece of it. And then we brought in two players who are what I would call pros. They've been around the National Hockey League a long time, and Dumoulin's got a Stanley Cup on his resume, or a couple. Cody Ceci's gone to the Stanley Cup Finals with Edmonton and went to the Final Four this year. So they've been under the pressures of Stanley Cup playoff hockey deep into the playoffs, into the second and third and fourth rounds.
With Corey Perry, what are the intangibles and attributes that he brings at this stage? And we saw that in the playoffs, but what are the attributes that he brings to your group that you felt you either maybe didn't have or didn't have enough of?
Well, first off, he lives in the blue paint. I believe teams that have success, especially come playoff time, go to the blue paint hard. That's his calling card. He goes to the blue paint, and whether he scores a goal, you need people in front of the net that are driving the net. They're distracting the goalie. They're banging around. There's traffic at the net, and that's what he does. And then obviously he's got an impressive resume. He's been around winning teams and been a big part of helping teams go on long playoff runs. Comfortable standing up in the locker room when necessary and saying what's needed to the group. And he can go up the lineup, down the lineup. He's not Corey Perry of being 25 years of age, but he had 19 goals this year. He had 10 goals in the playoffs. Not sure how many goals and assists he's going to get, but he's going to bring an attitude to the team. And certainly he's another dimension. One of the things that this team had a tough time with last year was being successful in the power play, and specialty teams are really important. So with the re-signing of Kuzmenko, who's a right shot, and the addition of Corey Perry, who's a right shot, it gives the coach two options of a right shot. Corey Perry goes to the net, to the blue paint. Kuzmenko is more of a guy that sits, more, and he picks people out and can make plays and distribute the puck. And then you've obviously got Kempe and Byfield and Kopitar and Fiala. So it gives Jim Hiller and the coaching staff more options on the power play, because again, if you're going to be successful over the 82 game schedule into the playoffs, you got to be good on the special teams, penalty killing, and power play. And Kuzmenko and Perry up front, that's what they do. They're good in the power play. And Dumoulin and Ceci, that's what they've done throughout their careers, is be on the PK.
And I'll ask one more, and then I'll let someone else jump in here. With Perry, I imagine that you've got to I don't know what you envision him in terms of where he's going to be in the lineup, but I imagine that you've got to like that at this stage of his career, he doesn't mind playing on the fourth line, if that's the case, or moving up in the lineup, or playing a big role when it comes to the postseason. That you don't mind, that he doesn't mind where he plays, as long as when the lights are bright, he'll be in there.
I think you're absolutely right. He's gonna, first off, he's versatile. He can he can go up and down the lineup. Again, do I expect that he's going to play 18 minutes a night on the first line? No, and I don't think he expects that, and that's not what he did. The last few years. But some games when things are, he can go up the lineup, and he, because of his hockey sense and his in his hands. He has no, obviously he's always been was a player on the top line playing against the other team best players. So he's done that in his career. But at this stage of his career, I think he understands his role, and some nights he's going to be on the fourth line. And expect to see him on the power play. And there's some nights when, and if you have an injury or somebody's not going, he can go up and he can play with on your top three lines, and he can think with those people. He can be successful moving up the lineup. So he gives us some versatility in the lineup. When I kind of look at guys like Byfield and Laferriere and Turcotte, Brandt Clark, I guess it's what I did in Detroit, what I did in Edmonton. You've got some good young players. I want to have, the Corey Perrys and the Cecis, the Dumoulins. They're role models. They're pros. I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, obviously, I know Corey Perry and I know Cody Ceci. I talked to, 3-4 coaches here over the last 4 days, 4 or 5 days on Brian Dumoulin, about him as a person. Everybody. I talked to his general manager at the end of the year, Fitzgerald. Everybody tells me what a fabulous person Brian Dumoulin is. So we're moving good people into the locker room, and I think that you need the chemistry on the ice, but you also need chemistry off the ice. And so with the additions of Dumoulin, with the additions of Ceci and Corey Perry, and Joel Armia, who Mark Bergevin knows real well from his days in Montreal, we're moving in pros. We're moving in good people that we think will help us on the ice, but we'll also have a team with real good chemistry off the ice.
Zach Dooley, go ahead.
Again, looking at the defensemen coming in, and Ceci and Dumoulin with Gavrikov going out, he was around 23 minutes a game last year. Would you envision or hope that maybe a Clark or one of those guys would step in and become like a true second pair, or do you maybe see a little bit more balance potentially between three pairs with the guys you brought in?
Well, I would see, balance. I mean, obviously what we did was we got three lefties in Dumoulin, Mikey Anderson, Edmondson. We got three righties in Doughty, Brandt Clark, and Ceci. Dumoulin can play left or right. If you get an injury to a lefty, more of a Bear can shoot up, and Dumoulin can slide over. You got to have some depth. So, but I mean, if you look at these guys, in the playoffs, if you look at the ice time that Dumoulin played for New Jersey in the playoffs, I think one game they went to overtime or double. I think he played 37 or 38 minutes. so he can log minutes if he has to. Cody Ceci played 22, 23 minutes. 21 to 23 minutes probably a game in all three places this year: Edmonton, San Jose, or last year Edmonton, then San Jose, and Dallas. So, but I would anticipate that the ice time is going to, when healthy, it's going to be more, evenly spread out. Is the coach going to use 5 forwards on the power play again? I would expect that, but Brant Clark can play on the power play if he has to. Drew Doughty can play on the power play. So I guess my thought as a manager, you try to give the coach as many options as possible, and then the coach has got to figure out what are the best options. So lefties, righties on defense, but one lefty can slide over and play other side. And then we tried to get more depth up front. Try to get a little bit bigger up front with the addition of Armia and Perry. They're big guys. You guys saw Kuzmenko down the stretch. He had a real impact in the team. He's got a high skill level. And then obviously Anton Forsberg in goal. Just tried to make a change in net and have a real good 1-2 punch in net. I think David Rittich did a good job, but we made a decision to explore the market and made a decision to bring in Anton Forsberg. So we like the team today. We like the moves that we've made. Now I obviously understand that we got to get to September to October, and it's got to happen on the ice starting in October.
And then just to build on that, you mentioned Armia there also. You talked a lot about Perry, but you bring in the 2 of those guys, whether they're on the 4th line or elsewhere. Do you feel like that maybe gives you that 4th line that should be trusted to play maybe a little bit larger of a role in big games, as you alluded to last week?
Well, I think so. Armia was one of the top forwards in the National Hockey League in time on ice in the penalty kill. So he's he can play in the, if let's say they're on the 4th line, well, Armia can play on the penalty kill, and Perry can play on the power play. I would say today I'm seeing Turcotte as a center, and maybe let's say centering the 4th line, but he also this year played up in the 1st line, and Turcotte's like a Swiss Army knife. He can play left wing, he can play right wing, he can play with the skilled players. He can, if he's down on the 4th line, he'll have Perry and Armia with him probably, and we've got Hellenius and we've got Malott and Lee. So we're expecting to go to training camp and have a real competitive training camp. You're going to need more than 13 forwards and 6 defensemen over 82 games. So we feel like we've got 14, 15 forwards. And, we got 7, 8 defensemen that we feel comfortable with. Re-signed Copley, who had a big impact on the team 2 years ago. We feel we've got good depth in goals. So the goals heading into this period of time, this free agency, was to try to make the team deeper, a little bit bigger, a little bit better. But it was a really good team last year, and try to build on that. And we believe we've done that. I just spent a half an hour talking to Jim Hiller about the moves we made, and I believe he's excited to get going. And again, now it's got to happen on the ice, but we feel good about the things that we were able to accomplish.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
Daryl Evans, go ahead. Go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah, hi, Ken. You kind of touched on most of the things I was going to ask about, and that was the depth, adding the players that you did. But more importantly, do you feel the team was at the stage where it needed to be veteran players to come in to kind of make that difference? And between Jim and yourself in conversation, a need to use that 4th line more than maybe it was used last year because of injuries at the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I just, talking to Jim and as we worked our way up to July 1st, and we went through the 6 playoff games, and the minutes that were played in games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and was a lot of 9 forwards and 4 defensemen. And I don't know that that's necessarily a reflection on the guys that didn't play, but certainly the coach, when the game started to tighten up, and the series was on the line, he started, the bench shrunk, and they're gassed, and especially if you go into overtime and you're using 3 lines. So, excuse me, guys like Armia, Perry, Kuzmek was here. You're adding two more forwards. Byfield, a Ferrier, and Turcotte are a year older. I'm big on that. The part of getting better is the internal growth, and they're 3 really good young forwards, and they should be, a little bit better this year than they were last year in terms of their importance to the team. Whether it's, part of it might be goals and assists, but it's ice time and role and playing, harder minutes against better competition. And I see the same for Brandt Clarke. So, the goal was I think I've said this before. They lost to Edmonton 4 years in a row, but 3 of the years the series was up for grabs, and really in 3 of the years, the LA Kings were in command, not in command, but had the leg up on the series. 3-2 going into Game 6 in the first year, up, coming home up 3-2, and up 2-1 and 3-0 after one period the second year, and up 2-0 this year. So, but at the end of the day, they didn't. The other team won. So, you're not quite good enough. And how do we get a little bit better? And we made the moves today that we believe are going to make us a little bit better. And, let's get to training camp and see what we got. And again, I'm anxious to see where Green Tree is. Where's Hellenius? Where's these young players I've talked about. This is also a part of the package and the process of taking the next step. But we think we're deeper. We think we're better. We think we're a little bit bigger. Now we got to go play.
And as you look through the entire year, okay, you've put together, you made a lot of moves today, you added a lot of pieces, and the pieces that you feel are going to take you to the next level. But it seems like you still have a little bit of flexibility just in case that coming to, like, let's say deadline time or sometime through the course of the year, if you had to pull the trigger to add something else, you could as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're still $4.5 million below the cap. As you know, that money grows if you don't get hit with any significant injuries, that money grows over the course of the year, and you got a lot of cap space available come the trade deadline. But obviously, over 60 games, you got to play your way into a position where you want to spend assets and use the cap space. So, but we do have that. We've kept that flexibility of having cap space and quite a bit of cap space to give us the flexibility that somewhere over the next, from here to early March, if an opportunity presents itself.
I appreciate your time, Ken. Thank you.
Thanks.
Dennis Bernstein, go ahead.
Ken, the type of players that you added, the physical, the grinding players, and you mentioned you talking to Jim Hiller. Do you think the style of play will appreciably change from what you saw last season from this team?
Define style of play.
Well, maybe less off the rush, more grinding, more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's who Corey Perry is. I mean, I guess, right. I guess I would say this to you. I've got a vision of how a team should look, but you can't snap your fingers. And the team has been very, very successful through the regular season in playing a certain way. And I see us continuing to play a lot of a certain way. One of the areas that the team could have been better next year was last year was the power play. Mm-hmm. So I kind of walked through, we saw Kuzmenko, we re-signed Kuzmenko to a 1-year deal. We've added Corey Perry. If we can continue to be good on the penalty kill, and Gavrikov was a big part of that and a big loss, but we've added Ceci and Dumoulin, who both penalty kill, and we're bringing back a healthy Drew Doughty. Special teams are important. So we got to continue to be good on the penalty kill. And can we be better in the power play with the addition of Kuzmenko and Perry over 82 games? That's the big part of it. And then Armia a little deeper. You're not counting on, for whatever reason, the fourth line didn't play as much. Can they play a little bit more? And can that take some of the hard minutes off the big guys, so that when they are out there, the big minute people, so that when they are out on the ice, they're not quite as gassed, and they've got a little more juice in the tank, gas in the tank to play. We're down to, again, we're talking 2% here, 2% there, 2%, 2%, marginally better here, marginally better there, a little bit better here, a little bit better there, and that oftentimes is the difference. So, with the additions of Dumoulin, the guys we talked, Dumoulin, Ceci, Perry, Armia, they're all big people. They're you want them to be hard to play against. They take up space. When Perry wants to go to the net front, he goes to the net front. Armia is a really good. He's a good penalty killer. So we've brought in guys that are good on the special teams. Armia, Perry, Dumoulin, Ceci. Special teams are critical. I think we brought in some pros to make the team a little bit deeper. It's a year later, so some of the younger people, Hellenius, Greentree, Lafreniere, Byfield, Clark, Turcotte, they're another year older. They're a little more established, have a little better understanding of what the NHL is all about, and what do they got to do. And we believe all these little margins are going to make the LA Kings a little bit better, a little bit different than last year. And ultimately, what you want to do is have a really good regular season, and then the whole thing starts from fresh come playoff time. It's going to be hard to make the playoffs in the West. We were going over there. Lots of teams have made themselves better, and it's only 8 teams make it out of 16. So you got to be a little bit better just to be the same, because I think you guys understand that. So we believe we did it. Now we got to go do it.
Thanks, Ken.
Zach Dooley, go ahead.
Again, I just had one more. Do you see the moves made today as kind of most of your business for the summer? Or would you say you're potentially open to other things if they come about, or just kind of have to see where things go?
I think we're mostly there. Over the last 2 weeks, I talked to most of the general managers in the league, and I think I said this the night of the draft, about any potential trades. I see the trading front kind of, from our perspective, not being really somewhere to go. But if the right trade pops itself up that we think makes us different, better, we'll explore it. But as we sit here today, we've got 14, 15 forwards that we think can compete to be on the team, and we've got 7, 8 defensemen that we think can compete to be on the team. But if somebody slips through the cracks, either through an unrestricted free agent or there's a trade possibility, we'll certainly look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you, media. If there are no more questions, this will conclude our free agency media availability with Ken Holland. Thank you, Ken, for your time, and thank you, media.
Thank you.